Hello, and welcome to the Amplify Your Confidence podcast. My name is Me, written as MY, at www.dancewithme.com. This is a weekly podcast where I create fun, energetic, and informative conversation that helps you to amplify your confidence and live your life to the fullest. Are you ready for it? Let's go! Welcome everyone! Welcome to the first ever episode of Amplify Your Confidence podcast. And today I'm super excited to have Oleksandra here with us, and we're gonna talk about how to stop overthinking and start doing. I cannot think of any better guest to start my first episode on my podcast rather than this amazing girl, Oleksandra. So before we start the conversation, let me introduce about our guest speaker today, who is Oleksandra. So, Oleksandra, in short, I normally call her Ola. Ola is the COO of Abstract, a leading media agency in mobile edtech, and co-founder of the Eatinerant, a unique retreat for people who seek personal development and love exploring the food and wine scenery in Italy. Moreover, with her boyfriend Federico, they are building a beautiful co-living place for digital nomads, remote workers in Capranica. Did I say it right?
Capranica?
Yeah, Italy. To describe Ola, I would say she is a sharp and driven businesswoman with a warm heart. She is on a mission to empowering employers and employees around the globe to build the most efficient work process and create a healthy work-life balance. I met this talented young lady at the Nomad Escape, a business retreat in Madeira Island in Portugal, back in August. So we're now sitting in September 2022, So we know each other almost for a year, and since then we become not only good friends but great accountability partners in which we help each other grow both personally and professionally. Ola is actually the one giving me the last push to create this podcast. That's the reason why I have her today as our first guest. However, not so many people know at the age of 25, Ola got through a terrible burnout and career crisis. But look at her now, everyone. She is a serious entrepreneur and an endless inspiration for so many people at the age of 29 only. How Ola make all of those things happen in such a short period of time? Let's get on a chat with our amazing guest speakers today. Ola, welcome again to Amplify Your Confidence podcast.
Yay, thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh my God, when I'm writing this bio about you, I'm just like, I'm so proud that I'm your friend, and I super excited to get into the conversation with you.
Me too.
But before we get into our topic today, how to stop overthinking and start doing, living your best life, I would love to put you on a game.
Okay.
I call it a hot seat game. So I'm gonna ask you 5 questions for our audience to get to know about you.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yes, always.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't have to overthink.
Okay.
Everything comes first in your mind. You can tell us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
All right.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay. The first question. What confidence mean to you in 3 words?
I would say self-respect.
You have time.
Self-respect, knowledge, and forward thinking.
Forward thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. So self-respect, knowledge, that means competence.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
And the last one is forward thinking.
Yeah.
I love it. One of the reasons I always gonna put this on the guest speaker the questions, because of course this is Amplify Your Confidence podcast, and I believe confidence are totally different compared to each people, you know, and it's just so nice to put these questions out there for other people also think that, oh, actually confidence is this for them and not for me. So everyone is different, and I think it's a beautiful confidence, right?
Yeah. That's
So the second one is, what do you do when you feel demotivated? What is
I push through.
Oh!
No, actually, I think like I look forward the goal and I remind myself why I'm doing this, and then that's like my step one on regaining my motivation again.
Nice. So always go back to your why.
Exactly.
I love it. Yeah. What are the 3 things that you are most grateful at this moment?
Okay. My family, that's for sure first. And my friends. And the freedom to travel.
Nice. Because we both working remotely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Of course, that's the most important. Friends, family, and then freedom. What else you need more in life? The next one is, do you have anything right now that you regret for not doing it?
Not really. I think overall I don't really have regrets because we can't change past. So I don't think we should spend time on regretting or rethinking the past or reliving the past. What happened already happened, so we can't change it. So no regrets.
Love it, love it. And we come to the last one.
Okay.
On the hot seat. The best advice you ever got from someone?
Okay. Okay. A friend of mine said that it's actually about regrets and fear of failure. So a friend of mine said that if you're not gonna do it, you're gonna fail 100%. But if you're gonna do it and you're gonna try, at least there is a chance that you're gonna succeed. So I think like for me it was something I remembered that, okay, if I don't try, then I for sure fail.
Nice. That's actually a very good way to handle our fear whenever we're gonna start doing something.
Yeah.
I love this. Oh my God, you did so well on the first part of our conversations today. And now let's start our topic for today, overthinking, and start living and doing. I guess one of the reasons I have you today as a guest because I just know you for a year, and since the last 1 year, we have seen so much change in our life in such an incredible way.
Absolutely.
And you not only inspire me to do my own things and to do better, not only at my work. You know, last year when we met at the retreat, you gave me advice how to even do better at work, how to become even a better team lead and manage my team. All of that for me is just such a good knowledge that I have from you. And then seeing you from running one company and now doing 2 others company in your hand, it's just so amazing that you implement your ideas and make it happen. That's why I put you on our first podcast ever, because I think it's just so important for us to know exactly how to get there, right? So let's start with the first question.
Yes. Let's do it.
Why do you think people tend to overthink?
Like, judging from my own experience, I used to actually overthink a lot, especially in my early 20s, and especially being a foreigner, always trying to do more and always trying to, but also I was more driven by fears. So I think the overthinking comes from fear of failure or fear of being judged, which of course we still are. And all the people that are going out there and doing something, they're judged by the rest that are not doing the things, because basically you're become a trigger for them, that they don't do it and you do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main, the fear is the main driver of overthinking.
Nice. And you know what? I love this because it's going to be connected to our next episode when we talk about fear. Very well organized me. I'm proud. But to give the audience a little bit background about you, because you said the fear of other people judging you as the foreigners. So you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so my background, I'm Ukrainian, and then I lived in Berlin for quite a while, and that's where also I started my entrepreneur career and my journey. And yeah, being a girl from Eastern Europe, there are a lot of stereotypes that there are in Germany, like if we want to admit it or not, they're there in place. So, and also being like, I started my company, I was 25. So there was a lot of judgment because all other CEOs and co-founders I met, mostly they were men and they were much older as well.
Yeah.
So they were kind of underestimating me or not really believing that I can be knowledgeable to start a company, to lead a team, or to trust me with their budgets because my company is in marketing. And I think marketing is is an industry that is built on trust a lot as well. So you have to establish trust with your clients. And being out there 25, young, and I think like you even look younger than I am.
Yeah.
and 25 it was even more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like people were underestimating me and not really believing in my knowledge. I think also before the entrepreneurs were only people older because they had to have some capital to start business, but now I think times are changing and we see a lot of young entrepreneurs. But the older generation, they still have the mindset that like we are too young to start the business or too young to have a successful business.
Yeah, and then at some point a lot of people also think, oh, you are too old to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, I think it comes from a lot of the external factors, and of course the environment that you are in actually also affect on the way of thinking.
Yeah.
I think there are two things that cause overthinking: the environment that you are in, and of course how our brain works.
Yeah.
The mind is such a fascinating thing, and a lot of things going on in our brain that we actually even don't know enough.
Yeah.
But I believe with you, we're gonna have some steps to get over it. Let's go with the next questions. So, how do you identify if you tend to start overthink? Of course, we always need to think, right? Yeah, that's a part of our brain. We always gonna think. But the moment when you go into that cycles of overthinking, how you identify it?
Yeah, I think it's like quite a thin line between thinking and overthinking.
Yeah.
I'm more of an analytical person, so I need to think through all scenarios that can lead to overthinking, of course. Like for me, I realize it like if I go in circles or if I keep in my head looking for all the little scenarios that are so unrealistic and will probably never happen, instead of focusing, let's say there is plan A, plan B, and maybe plan C, and then I'm okay, this is enough, like I'm prepared, like everything extra is already overthinking.
Yeah. Can you make a concrete, let's say, an example, either related to your personal or career, so we can have it more elaborate for the audience?
Absolutely. Right now, I don't really overthink much, but like 4 years ago when I was starting my own company, I was still in a lot of overthinking, but also because it was quite a scary time for me, like being a foreigner on visa, young, leaving my job to start something I want was not like I was not sure if I will succeed or not, and for me I didn't know what would mean if I fail. Would it mean I have to go back to my country? Would it mean I have to go back to office job? So that was like my main overthinking period, is like starting the company, because I was really scared, of course, but also overthinking on top of thinking about all the ways and even like signing an office lease for 1 year.
Yeah,
I had no idea
what it is, right?
Yeah, and in 1 year will I be able to pay? And it was the same with hiring people, because it's a responsibility I take on myself. Even if the company won't be doing well, I will still have to pay salaries, so there is no escape from this. So that was my main fears and main drivers to overthink.
Yeah. did you feel like, of course, overwhelmed as well at that moment? And how did you actually get out of it? By doing?
Yeah, actually, it was like quite a hard journey. Like the first summer of office operating and people, we hired like 3-4 people. I barely slept. Like I have to say, I had a lot of insomnia because I was actually overthinking and going through all the scenarios in my head. But it led me to, like, I made through all the scenarios possible in my head, and I saw that even the worst case scenarios are not as bad. So that eventually helped me. It took me some months and I lacked a lot of hours of sleep. But eventually I got there that even worst case scenarios is not as bad.
Wow. And at that moment you also just went through a burnout with another employer that you decided to quit, right? It started...
Actually, I think it was one of main drivers to start my own company, because I couldn't agree on certain things, but I also couldn't understand why people that are much older and more experienced than me cannot see simple things, and like how you can not value people that work for you. So I think it's one of the main drivers. And now meeting more entrepreneurs, I saw it was a driver for many, like that they were not agreeing on the company culture, structure and attitudes, and then they thought like, maybe I can do better, or at least I will try.
I think the reasons change is hard. Change is the hardest thing, because when other people who actually have experience and everything, and they already in the routine of doing their things, of course, for them to break through it, they maybe need to fail or something happen in the company. For example, for them losing you, for example, and then they wanna have a wake up call, for example.
Yeah, that's true. And like people are not like you can't just replace people, because you will never find person with the exactly same skill set or experience. So you have to really value your employees, but not only employees, also friends and your environment. Like you really have to appreciate what you have, because if you imagine all your employees that you put efforts, they leave, like your company is worth nothing without people.
Nice, I love that. And I know that now your office in total, how many employees you have?
I think almost 30, maybe 28.
Yeah, and then the retention rate is super high, right?
Yes, actually most of people that we hired in the beginning, so 4 years ago, are still with us also.
Yeah, that's why I love you so much. She is the best boss ever. Everyone, if you want to look for a new job, check out, follow Ola on LinkedIn. Maybe in the future her company gonna open for more positions.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think when you in that bad experience, you know what you don't want, and then when you build your company, your legacy, you want to stay to your truth and your values, right? Yeah. But maybe I'm gonna invite you on another podcast to talk about entrepreneurship, management, and company culture. Now today we focus on overthinking. Okay. Because otherwise I'm gonna go all over the place with you. All right. Let's go to the last one I want to discuss. So what are your steps from stop overthinking and start doing? One of the reasons I love Ola, because she's so structured, totally different compared to me. I learned so much from her from that. She had all the template everywhere. She shared with me, so I can start this, start that. And by knowing you for a year, I also kind of like just observing you doing your thing, and then like restructuring the way how I work and reorganize things that I already doing and make it better, you know. So she a miracle on this. So we would love you to share this with us.
Yeah, for me, what gives me overall confidence on my actions is exactly to have a plan and have a structure. So I either first step is just to have your big why. Like to understand why you're doing what you're doing, either your company or your learning or your personal growth. Like for me, it's important to understand the big why I'm doing this.
So what you are saying is, when you know the So what you are saying is that when you identify that you started to overthink, immediately you know that moment and you come back to yourself and then you ask yourself question, why? That's the first step. Okay.
Or like, why am I doing this? Because sometimes when you tend to overthink, you actually forget your big why and you focus on smaller things that are actually not important.
Yeah, like suddenly you're like, oh, what if these people think of me like this? What if tomorrow? And then you're like, oh, but what if I gonna got so many hate comments that
Exactly.
oh, this kind of thing. Yeah.
And then like from the big why, I like to drop it down more like to an action plan. So it gives me confidence to know my next steps, like what I do to, like today I have to do this, tomorrow this, and then I do it as long as I need, like to feel confident myself, especially now with the retreat and co-living that are new projects of this year. It's also important for me to see like where are we heading and where are we gonna be like tomorrow, in 1 month, in 5 months. So this gives me confidence to get there. So once I know where I need to get, then okay, so it's just a little journey. So now I know where I want to be in 1 month. So I just have to get there, which in 1 month it doesn't sound so scary. And then from 1 month to 5 months to 6 months, 1 year. And then once I have an action plan, it's easy for me to start acting. And I'm not saying that I always keep my action plans as steps. Like it's also important to be flexible because in 1 month I'm also a different person and maybe my 6 months goal is not relevant anymore. And I want to adjust it because we always become better as well. And maybe a bit more ambitious and also a bit more confident so we can go further and achieve more.
Yeah. Or you see that, oh, this goal actually too hard to achieve in 1 month and then you adjust it because that would be a scenario as well, right?
Exactly. Like it's important to stay like realistic as well. It's good to put a bit higher goals, I think, on yourself and reach higher, but it's also important to understand that
what is your limit?
We're not superhumans. So there is a limit, of course, and there is just 24 hours in a day. And there is so many things we want to put in 1 day. So we don't want to, like me personally, I don't want to be overworking. Like I'm not going back there to work 10 hours a day. Now I understand the importance of spending time with friends, of traveling, of just enjoying small things. So
So to summarize that, I think the most important point here is to obsess with your plan and start doing it so you don't have time to overthink anymore.
Exactly. And the last thing that helps me not to overthink is to think of worst case scenario. And then, okay, if I fail, what's gonna happen? And what is failure for me in this scenario? And once I know what is failure, what's gonna happen if I fail is not that scary anymore. Because if you really think about it, there are not that many failures that are so dramatic in life. And there are some failures that you anyway will go through. And you have to be prepared for this, especially as an entrepreneur. Of course, there is no learning without fails and there is no success without failure.
Wow, I love it. I'm trying to think. That's like for my personal journey as well. If I ever like really fail. No, actually we.
Exactly, and it's also our attitude towards fails.
Yeah, right. That also the most important thing as well. And if we become prepared like that, then those thoughts just like less scary and less affect us and impact us, right?
I think also now is internet, people put out their success stories, but they leave failures behind. So we tend to think that successful people got just lucky and successful right away, which is never true.
No, it's never true. I think we just saying here like from 25 until 29, and I believe at that burnout and depressions, and then building your first company ever, and so young, and no one would know that journey, you know, like if you look at Ola now. And I think we should tell this story more. People should know it more. Like you shouldn't just know that she has a 3 company now. You know, it doesn't mean that she just get it immediately. It's the whole journey, and you get there and with a lot of sweat, I guess.
Absolutely. First
Yeah.
2 years it was just working and
Yeah.
no vacation. First 2 years I never had vacations, even
Yeah.
though I was traveling, and but that's what people saw, that I just
Yeah.
traveled, but they didn't
For
see
work,
me working
right?
all the time.
Yeah, you travel for work. But I believe when you're at the stage of doing what you are really believe, you building your, how to say this? You building what you believe in.
Yeah.
So of course you're working, but because you believe it in that so much, and that's why you don't feel like you have to sacrifice a lot of things in your life in order to make it.
Absolutely. But I think also it's just a general advice for entrepreneurs. Especially when you start, you tend to overwork a lot because you want to establish like the basis, like the stability. It's still important to remember that if you don't take time to relax for yourself, like you will get to the point when you're just not interested, and you cannot really afford a burnout from your own company.
Yeah, that's true. You should set actually boundaries for yourself, and you are the one who take responsibility for yourself. So I think that's the reason why if you start to overthink, you have to take an action to change that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna in that loop over.
Yeah. What helps me is just to have visually my goals. So either on the whiteboard or on the notes on my phone, something I can always go back to and remind myself why I'm doing this and why I'm doing this and what I want to achieve. So always seeing it visually, even if I feel low or I feel like I'm going down or I'm about to fail, I see this and okay, there is so much more still to do, that one little fail means nothing in this journey.
And instead of putting yourself in that thinking like crazy and messy in your mind, just start looking it. I love this. I remember I went to your place and then all day there the whiteboard there, and I see all the goals for the month, and then and also the big why on the top, and then when you're gonna get there. And then for one moment I also remember like you started to freak out if something happened, and then you just came back and see. That is such an easy way, I think, but it has such impact on our brain. You can just switch the brain when it's in the mess, and then you see it again and you're like, wow, I don't have to worry much about what is the thing not even happened yet, right?
Exactly. And I think it's also good to remind yourself what you have done so far, because sometimes also with all these fears, they take over and we tend to think like, I haven't achieved much in life. But you just have to remind the whole journey you went to become the person you are today. Because if you think about it, each of us has done a lot of things already.
Yeah. I love this. I even have goosebumps now. I think this is the best way to end our conversation here. So if our audience want to find you, where they should find you?
I think LinkedIn would be the best way to approach, because I'm like very active there. So I would say, LinkedIn would be the way.
Okay, then I'm gonna put your LinkedIn in our description. And everyone, if you need any help, any advice, inspiration, or joining amazing retreat that you are she is doing here in Italy, I'm going to join you in October.
That's true.
Which day is that again?
From 21st to 29th in Capranica, which is close to Rome.
Yeah. Maybe let's tell people a little bit of the retreat, right?
Yes, just absolutely.
In one sentence or something. So
it's a retreat for people that find joy in small things in life, as good food, nature, outdoors, and most important, connect with like-minded people. Because I think the main value of our retreat are people.
Yeah, definitely. I joined the first retreat and I'm coming back at the third one. And if you want to check it out as well, I also put the link in our description. And for everyone who listened to this, please take one of the steps that Ola just shared with us and start to doing something that you already planned for so long. and then you're gonna see that life is wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in with me today. Please give me a rating, 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, everywhere that you listen to the podcast, because it would help me a lot to grow this podcast and help others also find my podcast as well. And don't forget to follow me on my Instagram, amplifyyourconfidence_podcast, and send me your questions, your feedback. I'm here to listen and make this better for you. And once again, thank you so much for joining me today, Ola, and I'm going to see you guys at the next episode. Bye bye.